Morning, everybody.
Is anyone here yet? How do we see?
I don't know. I'm just going with it. I love how this is a coffee chat, but none of us are drinking coffee.
I know. I do have a mug, but it's hot water and apple cider vinegar.
I mean, mine, I look like I'm having like Gatorade. It's
blue dyes.
Yeah, it's lemon.
I'm adding myself really fast because no one's here, but look, can y'all see this little right here? This is telling you how many people are here. You see how it says live viewers 0?
No.
Y'all can't see that?
No.
Okay, maybe just me. But right now it's 0. I have a little button that tells, oh, there's 5. I'm leaving.
Oh.
Good morning, guys. Okay, this is our first time, so hopefully there won't be a bunch of technological glitches. Like, we don't really know how many people are here, but I'm assuming some of you guys are.
Yeah, we can't even see. So this is our first time using StreamYard, and we can't see how many people are on here. And I don't see any comments, do y'all? So if y'all are on here and you want to ask a question, make sure to type it in the comment box.
Welcome to our first of many coffee chats. We were just joking about how none of us are really even drinking coffee. I look like I'm drinking Gatorade, but it's actually apple lemon spirulina.
Got my water and some apple cider vinegar, hot water. Oh, look, there we go. Good morning. Hi. Al, so tell us what you were just saying, the responses from your post this morning about the apartment.
Oh yeah, I just recently posted a few hours ago about how I'm staying at a friend's apartment, and I'm not quick to leave my house because I like all of my things, like my toxic-free pillowcase and my Teflon-free, cookware and fragrance-free, all the things. I'm just a homebody for many reasons, but I have a dear friend who's in Dallas who only uses Branch Basics and does all the Branch Basics things. And it's so nice to have a getaway. Like, I'm alone without kids, and I have this very long to-do list I'm checking through. But anyway, after I posted this, I received several comments from you guys, or not several, maybe 5 or 6, but pretty quickly, about how people can relate to this. Like, when you go to an Airbnb or you're at a hotel or something, usually it's more of an Airbnb, but just tons of fragrances. So we were just joking about how we want to team up with Airbnb. It would be like a dream to have Branch Basics, clean home around the country.
That would be a great idea.
Wouldn't it?
It would.
One time, Marilee and I were in New York for a press trip. Remember, Marilee? And we filmed taking a closet full of products that was right by the bedroom of different harmful cleaning products, and put them outside in a box, right outside the door in the hall, and then
on the stairwell.
And it made such a difference.
I get pictures from friends texting me, they just went to their in-laws' house and beach house, and they have all the Febreze in a picture by the front door or the back door, outside. So it's tough because you want to relax and get away, but then you're dealing with all the toxins. Y'all, it's very cold here. I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. My dad just texted me and was like, whatever you do, stay inside, don't drive. Now, we Texans are very scared of icy weather, but I will say I feel like this is pretty legit down here.
My husband measured 1-inch icicles coming off our roof right now.
What?
It's like Christmas or something.
What?
In Texas.
Okay, wait, I see some. So bath toys, yeah, I actually found 2 brands recently that I love. One, I'm trying to remember the name. I haven't ordered them yet, but I saw them. Was it, Al, I sent it to you. Was it Matt or Marilee? We'll have to look up.
What's the one that we've been using that comes in the netting?
Well, I was going to say Lywood is a brand that makes 100% silicone ones that don't have any holes in them, so you don't have to worry about the mold. And then they can also be non-bath toys too. You can play with them. I don't know how to describe them, but
yeah, silicone and rubber.
Yeah, I ordered mine off of Scandy Bling website.
I'm gonna put a link right here for. Can I put a link in the show right here? Sorry.
In the comment.
Yeah. Maybe not. Anyway, if you go to the Tot has a section of baby bath toys that are non-toxic.
And then we're actually coming out with article soon. We're working on an article right now on tea toys, and we are including a few bath toys in that. So,
Yeah.
And then tea tree. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of that one. Charlie, if you're on that article, you can look it up and put it in the comments. Tea tree oil, yes, you can add. You can add any essential oils to your French Basics mixtures. I would definitely err on the side of like, less is more, and then if you want more, you can add it. But I've definitely done like even what I thought was small, like 10 drops before, and it was kind of strong. So.
And remember that once you put an oil in, you're probably going to have a problem if you get it in your eyes. You're probably going to have an issue in spraying in terms of it maybe being a little irritating. So just be aware of that.
Yeah. And Marilee, explain the quality, what to look for when you're buying essential oils.
Well, we like people to use organic or wild-crafted essential oils that have been processed without solvents. So really, really pure, because they found when they did some studies of products with essential oils that were just the least expensive, processed with solvents, that a lot of chemicals were showing up in those products. So
it's definitely worth making a few phone calls, or really, I guess nowadays, just emailing customer service if you can't figure out the answer about a particular essential oil brand. Because once you find one that you like, I mean, usually the brand is going to contain the scents that you want, and so you can just stick to a few that are clean and order from them. That's what I do.
Pranaram USA is the brand that I like.
Yeah, Pranaram. Natalia, we ask this question to our COO every day. So badly. Yeah, COVID has definitely slowed down supply chain, and so we're hoping, is it Q2?
Yeah, we're hoping for March, but can't make any promises on that. We were hoping it was originally supposed to be like in the fall, and then now it's gotten pushed to the spring. So hopefully that will work out.
And yes, we'll post, Carly, can you post Pranaram essential oils for Erica? And then Erica, as far as DNRS, I'm going to be honest. I have really struggled with making a consistent time for it. And I think the biggest reason for that is that I have been feeling so much better. And so my symptoms and just Lyme-related issues are not completely taking over my daily life like they were for the, off and on for the past year. And I can go more into what I feel like that's attributed from. But all that to say, it is literally like top of my to-do list to really do the DNRS consistently. And I believe wholeheartedly that all three of us, Marilee, Kelly, and I, Marilee's been in this season for a very long time, but Kelly and I are really entering this season about how our thoughts really are controlling so much of our body. Just thought and physical, thought life and physical life. So all that to say, I have not started consistently, but I believe wholeheartedly in it and really am excited to devote 6 months to it because I know it's going to help me significantly in different areas of my life, even just, anxiety prone and other issues I have on top of insomnia and Lyme related pain. So I'll definitely keep you guys posted.
Well, I've been working with people that have done DNRS, the Gupta program, for many years, and working with people who are so chemically sensitive, so EMF sensitive that they cannot function in the world. And like Allison's saying, for me, when I work with people, the first thing you want to do is really start tossing your toxic thoughts. If there's a hierarchy, a pyramid, thought is tops. So in other words, if you are trying to recover or you just want to make a change, going in and taking out the toxic things in your house is, a first easy step. But if you do that with a mindset like, oh my gosh, you're so stressed about it, it's such a big deal, you're doing it because someone's telling you, it's not really coming from your motivation because you see the value, that makes a difference. So it's those subtle changes in thought can just change your life. So with that said, the DNRS program by Annie Hopper is designed to have you, in other words, hey, stop. Think about how you're thinking about a certain situation, and let's reframe how you are looking at it. And she has some really great techniques that sort of wake you up and stop you. And this is the same with the Gupta program. So I would look into both of those.
And it's not just about mind over matter. Like Marilee's saying, like you're actually resetting your limbic system function and you're reducing this hypersensitivity and this kind of chronic loop cycle that's telling your body to be in this pain or, fill in the blank. So you're really, just like every organ in the body, like your brain is an organ and we have this amazing power to actually transform its function. So it's really empowering.
Well, and if y'all follow us on Instagram, y'all have seen us mention Dr. Caroline Leaf. I was watching one of her videos yesterday, and she was talking about her new book that's coming out, Cleaning Up Your Mental Mess, and explaining the neurocycle and how to do, what we're talking about. And she was talking about how the mind is separate from the brain, and your mind is constantly working, and like your brain is responding to your mind. It's very fascinating. So yeah, there's a lot of great resources on this, but Marilee, I'm so grateful for you because you've always taught us like the power of like perspective. And
well, I'll tell you, when I was working with my son and he was, had gone through such trauma, there was a point in time that I knew, and he was at this point, he was 14 years old. His exposure was at 10, but at 14, I knew that if he didn't own the idea of, hey, I'm going to be well, we're going to get through this, that, didn't matter what I was going to do. The battle was not going to be, won. So we really started working hard together on that. And he didn't realize it, he's a kid, but I was working for him to have a thought shift in his own brain and mind so that he was encouraged and he knew we had a path forward. And in studying, when I was trying to figure out, okay, what do I do for my child? Learning the fact that every thought you have impacts every cell in the body. And, you hear the words, many times, if you're really stressed, don't eat because you can't digest. If you're stressed, the cells get a signal to lock down. So the cell membrane isn't going to let nutrition in and it isn't going to let toxins out. And so becoming stress-free is very important. And we just need to check ourselves. DNRS is a good way. They have a real clear-cut checkpoint on your thinking. It's just like an alert. You learn to identify, oh, I'm going down the wrong direction. I need to stop and rethink this. So.
Erica.
Yeah, I know, Erica. I'm reading these comments.
Relate to that in so many ways. Mold is one of the most insidious, diabolic. Like I could just cuss mold out right here because it has affected my personal, life and health journey so much, and it's what brought out, chronic Lyme. And anyway, so I feel you, and I'm so sorry. But yes, I do think DNRS would be a really good program for you. And as we all know, moms out there, like the way that we are handling stress and the way that we are, our thoughts and our thought life, like there's not really a big buffer between that and our children because they just pick up so much like little sponges. So speaking of kids, do you want to talk about some of the activities you like doing with activities to do with toddlers? My first one is like get them outside, and I realize that's not possible for everybody in the country because of weather. But I've noticed that if we're early risers, so my kids are definitely up by 6. Like by 9 a.m., if we are still inside the house, everyone is like on top of each other, and it's just like get out of the house and get in nature and go to a park or go on a hike or something. So that's like my number one thing. Kelly, I'm sure you have.
No, I feel like for my daughter, she's 4 now, same as Allison, oldest. It depends on the age and like the phase of what she's kind of into. Like right now, she's really into books. So we've been reading a lot of books, even just like at the breakfast table, after dinner, whatever. So, and then obviously like I find the best things that, are when we can, as a family, like at night after dinner time, we'll try and like build blocks together or do stuff like in the playroom together. But obviously, I'm sure you also want ideas that they can do on their own. And so just like I mean, we haven't done anything that's out of the ordinary, but just, sticker books and blocks and magnetiles, all that stuff. But she's really into just like painting right now. And
we're really into arts and crafts.
Yeah, arts and crafts has been huge. And I think the biggest thing, and Allison was really good about like getting on me about this, is just creating environments where there's not too much clutter, or there's not too much for them to choose from, because then they just shut down and they don't know how to they're like overstimulated. So what I found is like setting up little stations like kind of around the house, or like putting stuff on the kitchen table versus like everything being in the playroom or like in the play area.
I can't see the question. So what was his question?
Really, on the right, if you see private chat and comments, if you click comments, I don't know if that helps. I want to say something about that, Kelly, and toddler activities. Like, so for arts and crafts, for instance, like I'll go on Amazon and I'll buy some beads and I'll buy construction paper and stuff like that. And now, we're seeing an age, like you get so much of something. Like you buy a pack of beads and you get like 500. You buy construction paper and you get like 250 sheets. I literally will take like a little bit of each item, and then I have like a place in my house where I hide like all these things, because I have noticed like if there's too many sticker books, too many colors, too many different crayon options, too many different, like a pastel box with all the different options, I'll take out like 5. My kids will sit so much longer just if there's less options. So that's been a really big thing for me during COVID pandemic times.
Yep, agree.
Can I
making necklaces and beads, sorting beads, all that. That's great.
Yeah, helping in the kitchen. I mean, even though it's a huge amount of mess, but my kids, we do a lot of that.
For sure, us too.
Is it okay? I now see the comments. Can I go back to Erica?
Yes.
Who says, my worst thought is that my kids can't heal from their EBV, Lyme, etc. because of my thoughts. I want to tell you that so many times did I deal with this thinking with my son, because I'd been told he's never going to recover. The brain does not change. It's forever damaged. I was sort of going totally against science. Science at that time was saying no hope. And I could not function in that, thought pattern. It was so unhealthy. So I just want to tell you, there is a way. If they can heal, they can recover. And my deepest conviction was, and I said this to the doctor that told me he would never recover, and I said it to him with respect. I said, I really cannot accept what the medical world has to offer me right now. I know there's a way for my son to recover. And I finally did a thought shift, like we were talking about the DNRS program, where you identify a thought that's really hanging you up. You stop it, and then you shift into a different path. And you just keep trying to stay on it. I mean, certainly you have daily things that come up and you might get discouraged, but just get back on track and say, I know there's a way. I'm just going to doing this step by step. And just encourage your children as well. Be positive.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's easy to just say like, be positive, whatever. But like, I truly sometimes like speak to myself and say like, Kelly, no, like stop thinking that, and reset myself.
That's right.
So sometimes I literally have to like say it out loud and just talk to myself.
And that is one of the techniques. It's in fact, they send you a program and you basically say, stop, it's very active,
you're actually physically standing on the ground and you step like forward and say no or something, and step backwards and say yes. Anyway, again, I haven't started the daily thing, but just to ingrain in your head this idea of like blocking these negative thoughts. I mean, Kelly and I did this before having our babies at home, like having a natural birth. Like if I were at the grocery store and I ran into someone that was telling me like a negative birth story or some fear popped in my head, I'd literally out loud, like I'd wait till I was alone in the aisle or something, but I would say, no. Because I'm like, I just refuse to hold on to that negative thought. It does really help. So,
and if you can want to relate it to something in the material world, just think about someone at your door, they knock, and they're standing there with something, we'll just say an exterminator, and you don't want that exterminator to come in, and you say, no, you're not going to pass this door. So when you identify a thought that is going to take you down, literally, you just reject it. And like Kelly said, you may have to talk to yourself and just, become calm and, just work with it. But it's a practice, and it becomes easier and easier to.
And Erica, I'm seeing about your husband, and I'm sure many people out there can relate, just when roommates or family members, aren't aligned. And I totally get that. I mean, my husband is supportive, but about a lot, but not about everything. And we are definitely not on the same page about everything. And it is really hard. And I've definitely over the years I've gotten better at it, but like there are times when I've been more prone to just like shut down and like just emotionally kind of shut down and just get really upset about it, or really, I don't know, it's really affected me. But again, just like Marilee said, just each day is a new day, and keep working at it, because I feel like the more you can just have, communication that around all this stuff, that where you're not too emotionally charged, the better it is to like actually make progress, and to just say, like a lot of times I have to say, like, look, this is not about me being fearful. This is not about me wanting perfect health, but I believe this, and this, and it's worth it to me to do this, and this. And I really want you to take me seriously in this, and let's figure out a solution together. Like that type of communication has gotten us so much further than just like, oh, why don't you see this? Like, why did he not let me do this? Like, why, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's so easy for me to get into that mode sometimes, but I can see the powerful difference of, just taking that time to kind of be grounded in what you want and having those conversations and coming at it from a way that you're just sharing the why behind what you want to do, versus like getting angry or upset at someone for them not seeing it yet or being on your same page.
And a lot of times being quiet and not speaking, you really need to major on the important things and be very flexible on something that you can let go. And so you're going to be showing by example how what you're doing is making a difference. And I would back off if there is a resistance on a point, then work with it as well as you can to not cause a problem between you and your husband. It's important. I mean,
Marilee, you've always been so good about like share how like you work with your clients a lot of times, whether it's a kind of going behind the scenes or undercover.
Well, absolutely. When people are really sick and they have very serious steps that they need to take, I love the Toss the Toxins program, because there's a lot of things you can do without even saying anything. You can get these products out of the house. You don't have to make an issue. When you get to the personal care products, and you go about that carefully, but it's all about negotiating this and letting their eyes be opened by your example. And when you're asking someone to change habits, etc., that they don't want to change, try to do all these other things that could maybe provide a change, and they'll just start opening up more and more. So
yeah, I love that, guys. So Kendall had asked about how to purify air in your home. She lives in Baton Rouge, Kelly, shout out, which has a lot of airborne pollutants. So
I'm not seeing that.
It's a little bit higher up. She has, she's nervous about opening the window. So I can already know exactly what Marilee's thinking in her head. First, toss the toxins. Make sure that everything you can control inside of your home is completely as clean as possible. That's where you're going to get, like, I guess, the most bang for your buck. But Marilee, what would you say to that in terms of living in a place that's higher pollutant? I mean, I'm from Houston. Marilee is from Houston. The opening your window method.
Sure. Definitely, you're going to use I'll say, your ability to walk outside and just gauge the air. I mean, I grew up in Houston. There were some times when the prevailing wind was such that you had great air or better air, et cetera. So if you walked out and you could tell that it's polluted, that is not the time to open your windows. I mean,
even if like the neighbor's doing laundry and you smell the dryer sheets, like, yeah, that would not be the time to open. Sometimes I have my windows open and I literally have to go close them because I start smelling that.
That's right. So going at the source inside the house obviously is the best thing, and removing all the products and materials that you can that are emitting the volatile organic compounds. Those are the ones that you smell. Get them out of the house. Just clear your house out as much as you possibly can. That'll be a big, big help. And we always, we give the recommendation that you can get a very inexpensive box fan and a Filtrete filter, that's Filtrete off Amazon, to fit on the back of that box fan. You turn the fan on, the mechanical action of the suction from the fan will put that filter on the back. You don't have to attach it. And you've got this instant air purifier in your house. And if you use it in your bedroom, you've got a noise machine. And so you can take down both particulates with the Filtretes. You can get the Filtrete filters that also take out VOCs. You just have to look them up. So
yeah, I know. I love that hack. Someone had asked about whole house water purification. Tracy, I see that. So we actually have different ones. So there's not necessarily a model or a type that's like, across the board, the best one for everyone. We actually have a blog post about water purification or water purifiers. And in that, we mentioned CWR, and that's who I have their model, but I worked with them to they pulled up the Jackson, Mississippi water report, and he made sure I had everything that I needed for our water. So that's what we would recommend.
Definitely one size does not fit all. You might be in an area that has, a lot of fluoride. You might be in an area that has a lot of another chemical, etc. So, we're not saying anything against some of the, generic water purification. I mean, everything you do can be helpful. But if you really want to zero in on your water supply, it's a good thing to, get with a water expert and determine what you want to take out of your water.
Yeah, and it sounds like more intimidating than it was. Like when I worked with him, it was like we, literally he pulled up the water report and figured out what we needed, and then if you have to do testing, they'll walk you through what you need to do. But it's not super intimidating or scary.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. The question about why are men, I mean, this is a little bit what we just talked about, but why are men kind of the ones that are about this and more resistant? I don't know, like John Wayne syndrome. It's like, the same idea, even from a conventional standpoint of why they're the ones that are least likely to follow up in their physicals and skip tests and treatments and minimize symptoms and kind of think, oh, that's nothing. But I guess the good things that science shows that women live longer or less burdened by chronic illness. So, who knows? We're definitely.
I think typically, not always, but typically, I think men have a stronger constitution. Like in the case for myself, my husband, I'm more sensitive and can feel more reactions when I'm around chemicals and stuff, or eat certain things or whatnot, and he can't. He doesn't really feel a difference, so it's not as easy for him to, be motivated.
But I don't know, Kel. I wonder, what's y'all's situation?
No, I was going to say, I know that's not for everyone, but also I think that women are, so one, women I think typically are, I mean, men have typically have stronger constitutions, not always, but two, I think women listen to their intuition and stuff a little more.
I think it's more about we're more sensitive. I mean, in your case, yes, Sam has a strong constitution, but I know so many men who are struggling with things, but they just minimize it and they're not sensitive to their intuition or like their gut telling them that maybe it could have this connection. So who knows?
Well, I can say my husband, we both were on, if there's a spectrum, we were way over here. We ate, I cannot tell you how much junk food, or let's just say processed food that we ate. We sprayed, you know, we had exterminators. We did everything conventional to the hilt. And then we had this big shift. My husband's very healthy, so couldn't relate. And it was a path. It took patience. It took me keeping quiet. You really don't want to make it a battle. You want to make it a teamwork effort. And that's what you deeply want your husband to be on board. You want, to be working together. And so internally, I was always thinking, okay, I want this to work. I want him to see, but it really was a lot of by example and just step by step. And now he is so fully on board that I have to tell him, please, keep quiet, because he's ready to shout and tell the world. They have no idea who we are. And, he'll just start talking about things. I'm just, no. So
I have to say, so Marilee's husband is my blood uncle, my mom's brother. And then one of my favorite things he said, we were at my daughter's christening like a year and a half ago, and we had food catered from a local restaurant. It was healthy, but like I knew the oils weren't perfect. And there were probably like only 15 of us there, like family, close family. We were going through the buffet line, and Doug, her husband, is standing next to me, and we're piling food on, and I'm like kind of trying to be good about like what uses the least, amount of oils and stuff. And I was like, wow, Doug, like you're really going for it. Cause I mean, he's super healthy. And he looked at me and he was like, Allison, I train for moments like this. And I think about that all the time about, like we do the best we can. A lot of people say 80-20. I'm not really into 80-20. I'm more like 95-5, but that's just my personality. But it is like we train for that. And I think, Doug's all in. Great.
Now, here's the biggest takeaway point that I want to say. If you can be patient, if you can, just keep working to get your thought in line, your position, that once you all once this all finishes, your husband, your children, your family are going to be better than they would have been. Their potential, they're going to reach more potential. They're just going to be healthier. Everything is going to bless them immensely. Your husbands have no idea how much they are going to benefit from this hardship that you're going through. Because you know what we're doing? We are like pioneers right now. We are all suffering from this, the consequences or the unintended consequences of this age of chemistry. And so the canaries in the mine, the ones that are getting sick, the ones that are having problems are actually the ones that are pointing out, hey, you know what, there's something wrong today. There's a reason why we have over 50% of American children have a chronic illness or some sort of issue they're fighting. Same with adults. And the scientists have directly linked this to our exposure to chemicals in our food, water, our homes, etc. And just our example of toxins and what a difference can be. I mean, imagine people are I just almost want to cry. People are sitting in their houses, they're suffering because they have a bottle of this and a bottle of that sitting under the cabinets that are emitting these chemicals that are asthmagens, cause asthma, carcinogens, neurotoxins. They affect the way we think, the way we breathe, our moods, our physical well-being. And all you have to do is get a box and walk it out of the house, and you've removed that immune stressor. So all that you're going through now and learning is going to just benefit you and your friends as they see it too. So
yeah, it is pretty awesome the times where my husband does say like, wow, like thank you for all that you do for us, because there's a lot that we do, I mean, we have to make choices every single day, what we're eating and what we're using and all that stuff.
Okay, Kate.
Anyway, I want Marilee, you to answer this question from Kate about, she said, for those that use water purifiers like Berkey or AquaTrue, do you have suggestions for how and what to use to remineralize the water? Is that generally necessary to do so?
If you're using something like an RO unit or distilled water, that is absolutely essential, because those are what's called empty waters. And when you drink distilled or RO that doesn't have the minerals put in, then it can have an effect in the body to pull a little of the minerals that are in your body. Very simply, one recommendation is to put a few pinches of Celtic salt into your water. There's also a product called Quinton Hypertonic that it's fairly expensive, but you just put a few drops into your water. There are trace minerals that can be added, but I definitely do recommend, remineralize.
Marilee, what about the rehydration drops or Spectramin from Energetics? That's what we've been using.
Spectramin is good to add to water. Rehydration helps the water, it become more easy for you to hydrate. So those are two products too. Rehydration isn't necessarily minerals, but it does help you,
So I actually just do like a pinch of my Redmond sea salt. Is that
that's fine?
Okay.
Yeah, pinch of salt.
When you said Celtic salt, what do you mean by that? So see, I'm learning.
That's a brand that a lot of people do put into their water. So.
And I just do it for my drinking water. Because when I'm cooking, I'm adding salt and spice or whatever like that. Right. But when I fill up my water bottle to drink, I'll just drop it in right then.
That's right. And adding a little lemon juice to your RO or your water can also liven it up and make it more hydrating.
So Kara is asking, she says, I've had a toxin-free home for years, but my nose burns when I come in from outside or come up from the basement to the main level. Do you think this is volatile organic compounds? It usually stops after a minute. Thank you.
Okay, that is a very good example of how our bodies are telling us something. A headache is not a Darvon deficiency. The fact that you come in and you recover, you have that experience initially, is your body is trying to adapt to your environment. Now, you're saying that when you come up you're in the basement, but go upstairs. So you're going from the basement to the upstairs. Is that what I'm understanding? Is that what I'm trying to find?
Yeah. She comes up from the basement to the main area. Her nose burns for a minute.
Or when she comes in from outside, which I assume is to the main area, main level.
Okay. You're asking, okay, I see it. Is this a VOC issue? It could be a VOC issue, or it could be an SVOC issue.
The semi-volatile organic compound.
Yeah, an SVOC is, as Kelly says, a semi-volatile. You cannot smell it. So this is one of my questions. When you're outside and you walk into your main level, do you pick up a scent, or is your house basically unscented to you? That's a question. Of course, there's a detection level of VOCs that, it can go very low, but there's definitely something that your body is saying to you that you might need to address. You're saying you have a toxin-free home. I would possibly start looking at your HVAC system, materials in your home. I don't know if you can type in how old your house is right now, but anyway, there's investigation here definitely that you could do.
And what do you think, Marilee? I mean, do you have a lot of people do air quality, dust tests?
We do dust tests when, you're trying to determine if someone has a health issue, and you've taken as much out as you can just to see what's there. There's a lot of questions that can be asked so that you don't have to spend that money. What part of the country you live in is part of the questioning. What kind of treatments has the house had in terms of, pesticides? And I always tell people right up front, no matter where you are, no matter what the situation, there's always a way to make it better. That's not a problem. But, is anyone in your household having health problems? That's another question, I would ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the hard part is that there's not many Marilees out there, and she is so, much more in depth than a lot of people out there. And so we are trying to work on pulling together resources for people, but it's not as simple as us just saying like, hey, go call this person or go look at this website. But just know that we are kind of working on trying to pull all these resources together for y'all.
Yeah.
So I'd ask her this question. Let's say you're in the basement and then you hold your breath, you walk upstairs and you go up somewhere else, not just right as you come into that main room, maybe go to your bedroom and then breathe and see if you get that same nose burn. Because it seems like from what I'm seeing is that you have this very brief nose burn and then maybe it's gone, like you said, after a minute. So maybe it has to do when you're passing the threshold, you're going up, through the stairway. A little more information, would need to be gathered.
Yeah. Y'all, we need to wrap up soon. So I want to just make sure a couple of these questions are answered.
Yeah.
Christiane is asking about buying 100% cotton, yet not organic quilt for her toddler. I personally think that that's fine. As long as it's laundered in Branch Basics, the sheets being organic is probably the most important thing. Like the pillowcase, pillow, and sheets is the most important thing. So that's my opinion there. I don't know, unless y'all disagree, Marilee and Kelly.
I was gonna say, yeah, I agree. As long as it's 100% organic, cotton, but I would just launder it multiple times first, even if it's, like as much as like 5 times, just to get out like all the, just even things like, not even just pesticides, but like dyes or other chemicals that are used to processing, things like that. So.
And then, yes, we do let our kids play at parks. There's no way we can avoid that completely. Yes. Again, it's like controlling the things that we can, but unless like sometimes they'll put a sign up that says like they were recently sprayed or there's a treatment going on, or if we know of anything. Like for me personally in Houston, the pesticide trucks came by all the time, so I actually knew their schedule. Like they would spray on Thursday night, so we didn't go to the park for a few days. But it's outdoors, and we just can't keep our kids cooped up, and the social benefits of being outside and being with other people sometimes outweigh those exposures. Kelly, do you want to talk really quickly, because I know we have to go soon, about the digital detox?
Oh yeah, but actually, there's so many questions I want to.
Marilee and Kelly are the ones that are like really thorough. Can you tell I'm the one that's like
I know, foam insulation, the Berkey filter. Anyway, yeah. Well, and just so y'all know, the whole point of these, like I said on Instagram yesterday, like, is to make ourselves available. So this is awesome. Thank y'all for like coming and participating and asking questions, but also know that you can always direct message us or send us emails, and we'll do our best to get back to you, or at least point you in the right direction if we can't answer your question. Exactly. But yeah, so we are like Allison said, we've really been kind of pushing a digital detox lately, and it's been so wonderful for us to take breaks. And so I hope some of you are joining us in whatever capacity it works for you. And then we just wanted to remind y'all that we're going to continue doing this digital detox, and we want to invite y'all to participate, like on social media, by tagging, like sharing something that you're doing instead of screen time, and tag us or send us a message like through DM or email, and we are going to be contributing donations to Chicago Birthworks and Jeremiah program. Chicago Birthworks provides a lot of like support with doula and birth support that for women that are giving birth, but then also Jeremiah program is such an incredible organization that helps to end the cycle of poverty with specifically single mothers. So we will continue finding great organizations to support, but these are the first two that we're starting with, and we just want to kind of provide a way that we can all come together and support great organizations. So,
Yes.
and it's a win-win because you'll get benefits from doing a digital detox.
And Tracy and Jamie, I'm excited to give an update on my non-toxic build. The update is we haven't started. Oh my gosh, it's one of those seasons that I'm having to just let things go. But we're about to start, and Marilee is specifying the materials and the process for that. So I'm hoping to be able to share a lot of our process. Unfortunately, there's not just one resource that we can send you because things, materials update all the time. And as soon as a book is written, the manufacturer added an ingredient in a sealant or a caulk or a paint. So, and of course, every house is in a different climate and built to different specifications. So there's not just a one resource for all. It's so complex, but we're excited to take y'all along on that journey.
And let me say right
trying
now,
to convince Marilee to write specs for tiny houses.
Yeah.
So we can all just build tiny houses.
Yeah.
and let me just say that here's our goal, because what Allison just said is true, and it could be just, you just feel, well, forget it, don't know what to do. We want to teach you to be your own vetter of products. You want to buy a caulk, we can tell you the questions to look for, the things to look for. And on anything in this world today, non-toxic on a label is not enough. Green on a label is not enough. But what is enough is if you know the right questions to ask the manufacturer. Does this have a biocide? Does this have flame retardants? And they go, oh, yes, it has a flame retardant. And you're going, okay, thank you, goodbye. And you go and you find one that is free of it, because those products are out there now. And we're just trying to emerge into more and more clarity in the food industry, in the building industry, in the cleaning product industry, in the skincare industry. All of this truth is coming out, and it's a time of confusion, but it's also the opportunity for us to get it clear. And we just have to keep that in mind, that the answers are there. And we're trying to simplify it for you guys as much as possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, guys.
Thank y'all. Yeah.
Have a great day.
Yes. All right. See y'all next time.
I think so. Bye.